Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Giulia Terracciano. I work for the City of Turin at the Innovation, Business and Research Relations Unit within the Department for Ecological Transition, European Funds, and National Recovery and Resilience Plan. On behalf of the City of Turin, it is today my great pleasure to welcome you all here for the third episode of our series Cities as Startup Ecosystem for Social Good. Cities Innovate is one of Turin initiative as part of our recognition as a European Capital of Innovation 2025. It is intended to be much more than just a series of webinars. It is a platform for shared learning, a journey of dialogue and exchange among European cities, as it aims to become a growing network of cities and experts doing innovation under different fields in Europe and behind. Throughout the series, we are addressing important issues related to urban innovation and to the main programs and sometimes also obstacles that our European cities are facing and dealing with. The topics and they embrace are different and, of course, related to different aspects of urban innovation. We will focus on climate neutral cities, to the future of urban smart mobility, and also to the impact of artificial intelligence and ethics in urban governance. Of course, another important crucial theme is how cities can nurture startup ecosystem for social goods, which is today's topic of discussion that our technical experts invited today are going to address. So before we dive into today's session, I would like to sincerely thank all the network and cities that have enthusiastically joined the program. Today, a special thanks goes to our speakers that embark this journey. A special thanks to Karolina from the city of Birmingham, to my colleague Erika from the city of Turin, and to Michael from the city of Barcelona. Of course, also to Celia from the European Innovation Council and Small and Medium Enterprises Executive Agency, which will moderate this session. Thank you all also to the audience for accepting our invitation and for sharing your valuable experience with us. I leave you now the floor to our moderator, Celia. So see you all later and enjoy the discussion. Please also feel free to leave all your questions and comments on the chat and to join the discussion.
Good afternoon, Julia. Thank you for this. Thank you for the introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this episode. Today, we will address a really interesting episode in which three vibrant cities will lead the way. We have Turin that will meet Birmingham and Barcelona. As Julia mentioned before, I'm Celia. I work in EISMEA, which is an executive agency of the European Commission. This agency implements the European Innovation Council and also EU programs focusing on SME support, innovation, and single market. So the agenda for today will be the following. First, we will let the speakers to introduce themselves, and then I will propose some questions so we can get to know more what they do and learn about what is going on in those cities. After that, I will propose a wrap-up question so they can discuss. And after that, there will be a Q&A, so you can write and leave any questions that you have. This is expecting to be around 1 hour, but if you have to leave before, don't worry, it will be recorded. And now I want to, before leaving the floor for them, I want to highlight how these cities are extremely important for what is going on. They are not only redefining urban spaces, but also they're embracing innovative and social solutions. And here in the Commission, this is something that we really appreciate. It really resonates with our goals of fostering green, robust, and digital Europe. for us is really important because it's our future and it's really the base of resilience and prosperity. So I want to give the floor now to Erika, which will present Torino when you're ready.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Erika Albarello, and I work at the European Funds and Innovation Department at the City of Torino, which is actually the department that worked very hard to obtain this important title of European Capital of Innovation 2025. Actually, we are a big group of people working on different topics and on different priorities that are in a way all interwoven. We have this important group working with Julia on the technological innovation, the support to research and enterprises. We have a specific group working on ecological transition, which is one of the goals of the city of Torino. We are one of the 100 mission cities in Europe working to reach climate neutrality by 2030. And we, specifically my group of work, focus our daily job on the link between urban regeneration and social innovation. So my presentation later on will be specifically focused on this aspect of our work, but also on how it really interconnects with the different, sites and phases of what is urban innovation today, at least for us in Torino. So thank you.
Thank you, Julia. Sorry, Erika. And I just wanted to say that congrats for this prize. I know it's a lot, and I know that you had to work a lot on this. So congrats. Also, congrats to Braga for being the rising capital. So congrats from here. Now, Michael, if you want to present yourself.
I think I have been brought in before Barcelona, so I don't know if you forgive me if I go first. Good afternoon, all. This is Karolina from Birmingham City Council. Congratulations to Torino for winning the incredible award. We've been trying really hard to compete with you, but hats off, you are doing an amazing job, and we're excited to be in this dialogue. I work for Birmingham City Council. I have worked for Birmingham City Council for over 16 years now. I am a Pole. I'm Polish. I was born in Poland. I worked for the Polish government at the time when Poland was joining the European Union. I was part of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, arm of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, leading the accession campaign. And then from that came to the UK to do a research project and to deepen my academic career. I've studied economy and political science. And I stayed in the country, and I worked for various levels of government, for central government in the UK, for in England, for regional government, the Regional Development Agency, Advantage West Midlands in the region, and then moved to the city, to the local administration, and for a long time worked in the Department for European and International Affairs, and then got drawn into urban and social innovation through the program funded through Urban Innovative Actions. And that started the amazing journey towards regeneration, and actually the amazing power of blending capital investment with social innovation and with a lot of other interventions, including green infrastructure, biodiversity, net zero, and social innovation in particular. So We've got, in my presentation, I'll cover the area of East Birmingham, which is where I'm working at. I'm the East Birmingham Program Development Manager at the moment, working on a big change in the entire east side of Birmingham. I'll talk about it more.
So it's an extensive career. I have to follow your path. It's incredible. Incredible. Michael, if you want to join now, it's your turn, please.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Celia. Thanks. I had a small problem, so apologize for that. And thanks, Karolina, for covering me. Michael Donaldson here. I'm the General Director for BitHabitat. BitHabitat is the urban innovation agency of the City Hall in Barcelona. Basically, what we do is we try to foster urban innovation. And when we talk about urban innovation, it's the meaning of this urban. It's not from urbanism, or not only from urbanism, but especially from the Latin word urbs, that mean urbe, that as you may know, because you're the founders of Latin in Italy, it is a city. So what we do is city innovation, because the problems, the challenges that we are facing nowadays in our modern cities, the new problems that we have, the impacts, the effects of the climate change, the new mobility, social inequities, digital inclusion or digital exclusion, thinking of it as a problem. They are all problems that they are in the agenda for the last 25, 30 years. So we need to approach to them in different ways than we used to do. Good thing about it is that the digital and technological disruptions are increasing our ways of tackling these problems. The potential that all these innovations have in the way we can solve the problems are as the problems, not the same as 25 years ago. Not only talking about AI, we're also talking about social innovation, technological innovation, and of course, digital innovation. So what we try to do is to merge all the knowledge, the experience that arises from our research centers, universities, startups, different stakeholders, industries, and so on, and try to leverage them in order to cope, in order to try to find solutions for the problems that we have as a city, for the common problems, because at the end of the day, we all are in the same boat. And if this boat sinks, we are going to drown. So we better find a solution between all in order to increase the quality of life of our cities.
Thank you, Michael. That's interesting. I like the merge of knowledge thing. I will ask you about that, about this collaboration after, if it's okay. Now, for having a good conversation, I think it's better to just and give a question to Erica, if it's okay for her. So my question for you, it's what specific public policies or initiatives in your city have most effectively supported inclusive and innovation, particularly for under-reserved communities?
Yeah, thank you, Celia. If you agree, I will share a short presentation to support, my my speech.
Sure.
Okay, here it is. Okay, you should be able to see that. First of all, I would like to take a step back to have a quick overview of the reason why Torino became the European Capital of Innovation. Of course, it's not because we are better than any other city in Europe in implementing innovative policies or action or inclusion of communities, but I might say that we have been trying very hard since a long time, and I would like to just give you a few pictures of how we have been doing it over the years, of our efforts, and I guess what was, what made the Commission decide for Torino was, in a way, the recognition of our efforts to really make an impact on our city as a public administration. So back since 2012, Torino started this program called Torino Social Innovation, which actually was the first urban policy in Italy devoted to support social innovation. And why did we do that? Well, maybe some of you know that Torino was an industrial city in the last century. We are the home of the Fiat, a very important car factory that thrived for 1 century, but then the things changed, the economic crisis came, and the city was left with a lot of urban voids, a lot of empty industries, and a lot of people losing their jobs. So the city faced an economic crisis and a social crisis. And, as a public administration, we were faced with very hard challenges. First of all, and the economic challenges are social challenges, and when there are social needs, there are social inequalities, and we really try to give an answer that included both our physical city and our citizens. So Torino Social Innovation tried to match, urban regeneration actions with actions supporting really the creation of jobs and the empowerment of communities. How? By creating connections between the city, the local actors, the associations, the local communities. But this was very, very new, very experimental. Anyway, the Commission recognized this in 2016 when we ranked second as European Capital of Innovation, but we wanted more. We wanted really to make an impact. That's why Torino Social Innovation evolved in a bigger initiative, Torino Social Impact, where it was not anymore the city driving this initiative, but it was but it became, in a way, an independent initiative powered by those actors that we started to involve, meaning the Chamber of Commerce, meaning the banking foundations, the universities, but a lot of also local associations, SMEs, businesses. Today, Torino Social Impact is a platform with more than 380, organizations who put together their resources, their competencies, their projects, their ideas to make really Torino a good place to make for the social economy, actually. But what does it mean? Yes, this is a very quick overview, but I would like to go more in deep on how the city really supported this process and how the local authority really intervened or tried to make this happen, tried to enable this. So the city was always convinced that change happens locally. So we had to start from really the social fabric, from the neighborhoods, from the local communities. How did we do it? We did it through, innovative programs. What do we mean by that? It means that we tried, when we had resources to invest them in projects on the ground, on projects many times co-created with the local associations, the local communities, with the ones that really knew what the local needs were. Facilito Giovani and Torino Social Factory were the first projects that we promoted with for social entrepreneurship. And what did we do at City of Torino? We not only gave some funds for startup for these young entrepreneurs, local entrepreneurs, but we tried to support them with technical support, with training, with helping them with permission, with bureaucracy. So really, the city had the idea to be a facilitator for the local ecosystem, as it was a facilitator for the creation of the Torino Social Impact platform. It wants to be a facilitator also for concrete initiatives based on the ground. Then here I just have time to mention some of the project, but this one CoCity really gives you the idea of what we try to do. CoCity is a project funded by Urban Innovative Actions that let us test the Urban Commons regulation in Torino. What is the Urban Commons regulation? I'm sure many of you are familiar with this, but it means that the city gives public space, public asset for the common care. Local associations, citizens, informal group of citizens can come together and sign a pact with the administration to co-manage and care for urban space or for a public place. This is very important to build ownership. We know as a public administration that when policies or regeneration programs or this type of actions are put in place from top down, some not very nice consequences can happen. Sometimes, the local communities do not agree with what has been done. Sometimes some negative spillover effects can happen, such as gentrification. We are very much aware of this. So we decided that, when we go in the neighborhoods, it should be done together with the communities. And CoCity, the Urban Commons regulation, is exactly to promote this approach. Today, more than 70 pacts of collaboration are active on the urban territory, and this is one of the ways we have to activate the community. Another important project that we have is called Tonight, again with Urban Innovative Action. This is specific on the topic of safety and security. And we understood, and we know, probably we all know, that security in the neighborhood is not as much an issue of police, but much more an issue of, again, a perception of security that can be granted by the community, by the ones who live the space. And if we build a sense of trust, a sense of security by having local initiatives, having active people, and by having the city engaged in that space through regeneration actions, our action in terms of having a better space, a more safe and secure space will be more successful. And lastly, I mentioned Impatto, which is a program that we are implementing now, again, on the public space. And again, we are calling local communities, associations, and groups to regenerate public space and activate public space that was neglected or abandoned before. So I know that I cannot go very much deeper into this project. What I would like to highlight is that here these are all projects where we experiment, social innovation support to local communities, together with regeneration. So the city, on the one hand, gives the engagement and the commitment to regenerate the space or the places, and in turn asks the local community to put in place projects, program, action, activities to live and to own those spaces. And with this slide, I would like to highlight that, luckily or unluckily, we are able to experiment, to test, and to innovate mainly thanks to European funding. We have been testing thanks to the National Operational Program for Metropolitan Cities, and also thanks to Urban Innovative Action and to URBACT. Probably, I don't know if it is the case of Birmingham and Barcelona as well, but the ordinary funds do not allow us very much to test this type of innovations on the urban ground. So really, we would like to say that the support of the European Union is fundamental in this. The cohesion funds are fundamental, and really it is really important for us, and not by chance our department is called European Funds and Innovation. But one last thing that I would like to highlight as a public administration is that what we can do, what we actually do as City of Torino, is really to advocate for the fact that urban innovation should really start from the ground, from the cities, from the neighborhoods, and we do it, of course, locally with our Open Innovation Center. Again, this is a former factory that was abandoned in a very difficult neighborhood, with very important socioeconomical issues. The city in 2015 decided to regenerate this building and the surrounding neighborhood, and to put there the Open Innovation Center, meaning that we opened the place to all the social economic companies that want to settle there, with a special condition for having the space and the services. But in turn, these companies were asked to give back to the neighborhood in terms of activities, of training for young people, of community spaces and community initiatives. So this was our local commitment, but we were asked by the national government to be also the leader of the National Competence Center for Social Innovation. I'm not sure if all of you are aware of this, but the European Commission, through the European Social Plus Fund, is funding the establishment of national competence centers for social innovation in all member states. And Torino is the only city all over Europe, all over the National Competence Center, leading one of these competence centers, the Italian one. What is the role of the competence center? The main aim is to support the managing authorities of the European Social Fund to use this funding with a social innovation approach, which means an integrated approach, with a co-design methodology, involvement of local communities, and we are trying to really give the urban perspective to this, not only in the Italian Competence Center, but also bringing our vision, our view also at European level within the community of practice on social innovation, which I invite you to look for, because it's really a source of of competencies, of experiences, and of great interest that might be for you all. And we do this, advocacy for cities to really put forward innovation also within Eurocities, which is an important network of cities at European level. So this was very quick. I know this is all from my side to leave the floor also to our cities, the other cities, and hear some contacts if you are keen on learning more. And of course, I'm available for questions later on. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's impressive. Your commitment to social innovation. It's that happens locally, but also you're really trying always to engage the community. When you mentioned about the trainer social impact, for me it's so powerful, and I guess that innovation is a powerful tool, but it's up to the people if they really want to use it. So I see that you're really into it, and I'm so grateful. So thank you. Because I don't know, this really manifests our ideas, our principles of the EU competitiveness compass, the Innovation Act, everything. So it's really inspiring to see how our ideas here really put it in land. I don't know. So I'm really inspired.
Thank you,
And
Celia.
also I wanted to connect it now with Barcelona, because you mentioned in a way the quadruple helix, like all the different actors in society are part of a big thing. So I wanted to connect it with Barcelona, as I said, and I wanted to ask you, Michael, what models of collaboration between government, private sector, communities have proven most effective in your experience? I don't know if you saw any challenges, or you might have some lessons that emerge from these partnerships.
Yeah, sure, Celia. In fact, we work with a couple of instruments, public instruments. One is what we call the urban challenges, and it's a methodology of innovation that we have come up with. And then we've got Proactive City, that's another program. And they both share the same ideas, the ideas that I was pointing at the beginning. We recognize that the knowledge and experience in terms of innovation, it's outside of the building, outside of the walls of the public administration, and what we have to do is to set the conditions, economic, financial, but also technological, and merging our procedures with their knowledge in order to come up with new ideas, new solutions. At the beginning, new prototypes that we expect to be products in the future, after we test them, after we scale them up, and after we are able to replicate them, and that they become sustainable in the future. So that's more or less what we work on, from the idea, from the problem, accelerate the idea into a prototype, testing it, and then have a new product that's no longer innovation. So our two instruments, as I said, they share the same values, but they bring different perspectives. First of them all, it's what we call urban challenges, and it starts with a problem that an area, a department from the city hall, mobility or urbanism or social or whoever, a problem that they have, and they don't find, or they don't have a suitable solution in the market, so they cannot buy it. So we launched this urban challenge. It's basically a grant, but it's not exactly as the grants that we normally launch from the City Hall. It's a grant, so it consists on money in order to develop a prototype. But before that, we make an open dialogue through an open call with the private sector, and we share the same room. We share our problem, and we ask the ecosystem if they think they would be able to find a solution in order to match the challenges that we have. So before launching the grant, before launching the tender, we ask the ecosystem if what we have in mind makes sense, or it's something that is going to be a failure because the technology is not ready for the moment, or what we are asking is too expensive, or if it's not going to be replicable in the future, or we won't be able to scale it up, and so on. So that's where the real collaboration, the public and private collaboration, takes form. And after that, could be one session or a couple of sessions. It depends on the maturity of the idea and the possibilities of the solution. We launch the contest, because at the end it's public money, so there has to be a public contest, and the different companies, industries, research center, we try to incentivize that they go together, university or research center with an industry, hand by hand, because what we want to match is the knowledge that comes from the research departments that are able to scale up thanks to the industry that's behind. So we try to, as I said, to make them go together whenever they present the idea. So after that, we've got one winner or two winners or three winners. That depends on the budget that we have whenever we launch the contest. And once we have the winners, we test the product on the city, on real conditions, on the real scenario. We go that through a year. It's normally a year, because we're talking about materials, we're talking about something that needs to be a little bit mature, that the department itself, but also the citizens and the industry, they need to test it for a whole year. That depends on each one of the projects. And if everything works fine, we then incorporate the knowledge that has arises from the prototypes itself. We incorporate that knowledge in our public tenders. So not only the winners, but anyone in the industry who wants to present their solutions according to the knowledge that has been generated through the process, they can opt for a public tender. Let me try to share you a couple of examples of what we're talking about, so see if it's easier to know what we're talking about. This is one of the prototypes we've been testing. This is only a render. We're talking about rehabilitation. There's a big problem in Barcelona because 90% of the buildings, they were constructed before the 21st century, and in terms of energy efficiency and other standard quality materials and so on, they lack of these standards. So there need to be a lot of investment in rehabilitation. And we came up with this idea of this kind of volumes, pre-constructed volumes. You can see in the middle the real prototype, 1-1. You can see on the left the render. So these volumes, they do attach themselves to the pre-existing facade, and they win a little bit of a terrace, a little bit of a space, but especially they win new skin in terms of efficiency, energy, acoustic, and even a nicer skin to your building. This is another one, and this is the third one. We're now currently working to take one of these prototypes into a real building, and if it works on a real building, it's a technology that we will introduce on the different resources that we give to the communities of buildings, so they can use the public funding money in terms of rehabilitation in order to increase the quality of their own buildings. And this is another one, very short. This is a one, of course, as any other Mediterranean cities, we are struggling with the heat, with the heat waves. The summer are longer and longer, and we, as I said, we're coping with a lot of heat at the moment right now. So we came out with these ideas of what we call ephemeral shadow structures. So in those places in the public space, in those spaces in the city that cannot hold trees, because whether there's a parking lot or there's another tunnel below it, and it's not possible to plant trees, we have come up with these ephemeral structural shades. We're talking about 400 up to 600 square meters that can be installed at the beginning of summer or April or May, and that they are removed at the end of the heat season. So that we can let the sun pass on the more winter or autumn times. These are three different structures. This one, in fact, and I will finish with this. This one, in fact, it was urban innovation, technological urban innovation failure, but a social urban innovation success, because it was meant to be installed during March. This was from last year. It was meant to be installed in May, June, and to be retired to take off on October. But this is just in front of a school. So all the families gather here, not only to have get shelter from the heat, but especially to have a moment of common social life. So they asked us to leave these structures the whole year, and that's why I was telling you that it was a kind of a from that technological perspective, was a failure, but in terms of social innovation, it was a big success.
Wow, impressive. Fingers crossed with these new solutions, because I'm from Madrid, but I have family in Barcelona and the heat is horrible. So please do your best, because we really need it. I swear. Oh God. Also, you mentioned ecosystems, and here in EISMEA I work in the European innovation ecosystems. So for me, it's really important to see how it's also implemented there. This connection between government, private sector, communities, really it's important, like, to have joint efforts, otherwise the benefits won't be widely shared. So I'm grateful that you're doing it and you're really working on it. With this in mind, I want to have the last question for Karolina, and then we'll have some discussion together. So Karolina, if you could share an example of how policies have catalyzed tangible social change, maybe because we are talking about this, if it could be applied to innovation and urban entrepreneurship, please. I think you're muted.
Yes, I am. Thank you, Celia. Thank you so much. Julia, if you could share my slides, that would be fantastic. Fabulous. Thank you so much. So I wanted to say, first of all, in response to Erica's amazing presentation, it made me feel sentimental, because we worked at the same time as you had Co-City project. We had our Use It project in Birmingham. So I worked with Gianni and your team a lot back at the time. And then we obviously worked under the URBAC transfer networks to work with other cities from across Europe to share the innovation from these projects. And actually what I'm going to talk about is not dissimilar from what we started working on back then using European funding, and maybe directly respond to your challenge is, how would we do this without European funding? Well, as you know, we voted Brexit in 2016, and we are having to deal with the lack of European funding, and well, except, thank goodness, Horizon Europe now, but it has definitely been felt, and we had to, I would say, become double innovative. It almost like think faster and be even smarter about how we're using the money from elsewhere to continue working in a way that we know works. We know it works for our city, especially as the times are changing, our societies become more polarized. We need to be closer and closer to our residents. And I loved Barcelona's example of actually bringing residents to practical innovation as well, to having them co-design the solutions for the problems that touching us all. And there is very much that ethos in our program. I have it. So if we could go to next slide, Julia, please. We're working on East Birmingham specifically for a number of reasons. This is a part of Birmingham. This is a huge part of Birmingham, more than a quarter. We have 375,000 residents in North Birmingham, in East Birmingham and North Solihull, area. But that area designated on the map was brought into the attention of our funders and politicians, particularly for multiple reasons. This is a perfect blend of a huge challenge, and as you can see, the stats here on the slide in the bottom right hand corner show that the area has extreme challenges. It's the youngest part of our city with lots of South Asian populations with big families, multi-generational houses, but we also have big issues with health. And there's a 3.7 years gap in male life expectancy comparing to the national average. So people die at least, nearly 4 years earlier than they are anywhere else in the country, for the reasons of pollution, for lack of access to green infrastructure, for lack of food and overall poverty, lack of healthy food and poverty levels. So there is a lot of challenge. But at the same time, with all of this that we have been battling with, there are incredible opportunities coming to Birmingham, and it started from the high-speed rail to designation line coming to Birmingham from London and shortening the distance between Birmingham and London, and therefore opening Birmingham as a potential place to live in and to be closely connected to the capital. This followed further investments, and we've got the Birmingham Knowledge Quarter with 2 universities collaborating together. We've got the new football stadium being built not far from the Birmingham Knowledge Quarter, with again a lot of investment and a big strategic vision. There is in recent days there was a government announcement of additional 400 million pound for the metro line coming into the new stadium. That we also, within this area, we have the Tyseley Energy Park with hydrogen energy innovation around hydrogen cars, hydrogen kitchens, and use of hydrogen in the commercial kitchens, magnet recycling facilities, and a lot of exciting technical innovation and investment into technical innovation. So how do we square that, right? If you look at this amazing levels of investment and the huge levels of need, we realized that we needed something different. So Julia, if we can go to the next slide, please. We've decided that, and the next one, sorry, this is just a list of all the investment coming into the city. So for all the Birmingham folks, if you want to look at the presentation later on to see all the little projects, please let me know. I'll share it afterwards. But what I want to focus here more about is the what's the difference. So what is the need and what is the opportunity, and how we doing it? Because how do you marry that huge levels of capital investment with a huge social need, which usually don't necessarily match up? We've seen it in the past, the trickle-down economics, that the buildings don't necessarily help the communities most in need. In fact, it often enlarges the gap, the distance between the ones that need support the most and the ones that are quick to utilize and get access to the new opportunities, new markets, new jobs. So we have applied the definition of inclusive growth. So linking to your question, Celia, the policy we have launched in the city is called the East Birmingham Inclusive Growth program, and that's a document that set the ambition for East Birmingham. We said that we would no longer just do growth, we want to invest in inclusive growth, but we will do this by connecting the big investment coming into the city and enabling, like poking it a little bit and allowing it to expand onto other areas of work. And the what you see at the bottom of the slide is is the levers that we understand we have, and to the systemic model of innovation we're applying, they're absolutely crucial. So for every city who wants to fully make that bridge, make the connection between the capital investment and social innovation, it is important to understand what levers are we holding as a public sector, and to what extent we need private sector, private capital, private partners, third sector partners, and how do we make that connection between one and the other, because we don't necessarily speak the same languages. And we don't necessarily have the same objectives. It doesn't mean that we cannot collaborate, but we have to be more intensive. We need to want to collaborate and build bridges. So if we could go to the next slide, please. So we have there are a few. This is the chart on the right-hand corner is the chart we have actually developed under the Use It project, under the Urban Innovative Actions project, that allowed us to translate the language of opportunities. So the macro dimension that we often see as a public sector, we often see with our developers, our partners, our private sector partners, our knowledge partners like universities, further education colleges, which is the wealth that drives is driven by capital investment. And in there we've got the large building construction projects, housing development projects, but we also have vacant buildings. And just like Karolina highlighted, we've got the land that might be underutilized but be extremely valuable for the residents and for third sector organizations. And we also have the incredible power of anchor institutions, who are organizations that are at least 200 employees each and are unlikely to move from the city. So they're not private corporations. There are like water companies, universities, hospitals, police, Birmingham City Council, and each of us have a power. Each of us holds a set of levers that if we utilize them wisely, we can make a massive difference locally. But what we have to make sure to unlock that public sector innovation, and it is important that we keep using the public sector innovation word, and I'm really glad to see that our combined authority, that they couldn't be here with us today, have coined the term. We're very much opposing the public sector reform narrative that has been pushed on us through the years of austerity and the massive need to reduce spending, cut budgets. Whereas what we need to different ways of thinking. So a fundamentally different approach to counteract the current funding system that supports disjointed, fragmented interventions that focus on deliverables and create that short-termism and grant dependency. We need to be able to enable a system that prioritizes transformative interventions, long-term investment, and enable a robust measurement of socioeconomic impact. And to achieve that, is important to focus on the real levers and understand how to unlock them. So if we go to the next slide, I will show you the community wealth building principles. So this is a different way of showing the bridge, the chart that was in the previous slide. So if you look at the top level, the macro dimension is our significantly higher level of funding and investment that supports our objective in East Birmingham, but also the transformation, the public sector innovation. So not adding more money to the public budget, because we can't make that promise. We are still in the deep austerity. But if we identify the actual levers we hold, we can make sure that, for example, our jobs are directed, our entry-level jobs in particular, are directed to specific areas of our city. Our procurement makes a difference to local companies, local SMEs, local social economy, and impact economy, if we expand it a little bit wider. And then there's the citizen view, that it's only possible if we have a very well switched on organizations that that play the bridge function. So are coordinating, are translating the top-down opportunities, are helping to build the capacity on the ground for the businesses and companies to access these opportunities, not only understand them, but also access them. So if we go to the next slide, this is the community wealth building model that hasn't been developed in Birmingham. This is the so-called Manchester/Preston model, a little bit further up north, which we have adopted. And those are the main principles of community wealth building that enable us to work better with our anchor partners. So we've got in Birmingham the Birmingham Anchor Institution Network that brings together further education colleges, universities, 4 hospitals, Birmingham City Council, and housing associations. And we work as a group to enable the better flow of our resources to build the community wealth, greater community wealth building. But the principles, if you look at them, and Erica, you will probably recognize a lot of them as very familiar. It's the plural ownership of the economy. You know, who really benefits from the investment, who holds the power, and you know, how can we really focus on enabling the difference by shifting the ownership of assets, ownership of land, to more local ownership, to eliminate the global corporations and offshore companies that are first to invest and first to gain on often technical innovation, where what we really need to see is empower local innovation through enabling access to these opportunities early on. And in the same way, it is about the new jobs. It's not just about entry-level jobs. It also is about the exciting new jobs. And then our procurement, how we spend the money, how we direct the resources to flow, how we build the supply chains to be able to access the procurement opportunities. And we have done a lot of work on that. And some of you might have heard our presentation at the back of the Diatomic project, where we run the Inclusive Innovation Network that specifically looked at, how do we enable smaller businesses, especially women-led businesses and women of color businesses, into the innovation ecosystem, and what work do we need to do to first encourage, make them aware of this opportunity, and then guide them through the maze of innovation ecosystem, the competition that is vicious, that there are lots of people who are firmly there in that system, and smaller businesses that have never been a part of the game don't necessarily know how to navigate it. And we've also done an interesting project that and I'm really proud of it. We've broken the expectation that a huge health contract needs to be held by national companies, especially mental health counseling contracts traditionally go to large companies. And in West Midlands, we actually managed to build a consortium of smaller social businesses, social enterprises, called the Living Well Consortium, that is currently built of 44 businesses from Birmingham and our adjacent areas that hold huge contracts with our National Health Service and deliver counselling and mental health support locally to the community, especially to diverse communities. So examples of social innovation that are connecting with the clean tech innovation and med tech innovation, that those are our big sectoral opportunities, but often are linked into just specific types of businesses, specific providers, and not necessarily open up enough for the social innovation to come along on board and link in with that, and actually effectively link local communities with this. So if we go further, Julia, please. So the resident view is really important, because we need local businesses and local residents to understand that we want to work with them. It's not just empty promises. We've been criticized for making empty promises many times, but it really is that we really mean the difference, and we really want to put inclusive innovation at the heart of research and development, and connecting local businesses with public sector contracts, framework contracts, supply chain opportunities. So recently we've invested £500,000 into a project that specifically worked on building stronger supply chains, and we work collaboratively with the combined authority on the continuation of that. But we also want to make sure that we help local businesses, especially social economy entities, so also cooperatives, also B Corps, trading arms of third sector organizations, to prioritize impact investment rather than focus on short-term funding cycles. So really we've been focusing on how to shift the system from grant dependency into a blend of private and public funding and grants and low percentage loans. So at the moment we're in the process of setting up an impact coalition modeled on the Rotterdam Impact Coalition that we've been working with Rotterdam a lot on the model, and that the whole momentum behind it is to connect our finance better with our businesses and especially social businesses and social impact businesses. So if we go further to one more slide, please. These are the examples of the projects that we've been doing in East Birmingham over the last 2 years. So just to give you, this is not by any means not the end of the story or not the full story either, but I needed to focus on something, not to talk for an hour. So we have a 20 million funding from the Levelling Up Fund from the government for the National Centre for Decarbonisation of Heat. This is a capital grant that will deliver a beautiful new building. But the real challenge around this building, and the University of Birmingham, we are the accountable body for the project, the University of Birmingham, and building the building. But we also realized that in order for this building to play a pivotal role for the communities, we need to enable stronger links with the local community and start as early as primary schools. And in the second photo from the top, you see our kids that we keep bringing to the Isley Energy Park for additional lessons and classes on the expanded STEM education. So we actually have an additional project that is called Fast Followers, the Net Zero Pathway, where we work with local businesses, local schools and residents to enable that net zero transition of the whole neighborhood. And we have also invested 6 million into a digital twin platform for Tysley, so it's the same area, to drive solutions for clean air, waste management, housing, traffic management. And it was part of that project that we established the Inclusive Innovation Network and funded access to innovation ecosystem for female founders and to the health tech and med tech consortium. We also invested quite a lot in a basic level, and I want to mention it because it's very similar to Erika, what you were talking about, what you're doing in Turin with underutilized land. So we have a partnership with National Trust, who are the national organization who manage lots of the historic properties across the country. We actually have a memorandum of understanding with National Trust, who are working with us in the city. So very different focus. And they're not going to own land. They are helping us to bring in underutilized land back into use. And the way we're doing it is by building lots of pocket parks across East Birmingham. But it's not the what that is so important here. It's the how. Is that for every pocket park, we select a local organization that is actually co-designing the pocket park with us. First, deciding where it needs to go, then what it should look like, what function it should play, and then we give them a grant that allows them to continue the maintenance and programming and biodiversity education around it. And you know what? Comparing to the huge investment project parks. This is probably the most popular project in East Birmingham. People love the pocket parks because they feel so connected through this. It achieves such an amazing goal by simply bringing people together and working on improving the way we feel in our neighborhoods and we feel together in our neighborhoods. So I'll pause at that. There's so much more I could talk about, but I'm actually quite curious to hear the questions from you guys. Thank you.
Well, that was a lot to digest, but it was really interesting, to be honest. I want to highlight your intelligence from merging needs and innovation through inclusive growth, because I feel that sometimes people forget to get closer to citizens. Sometimes the administration is a bit far away from the reality, and your idea to have this local ownership, to empowering the locals, to not forgetting anyone, to not leaving anyone behind. For me, this is really impressive. So thank you, and yeah, clever.
Oh, thank you.
No, indeed, it's I really appreciate it. Since we are running a bit of time, I will just go with a wrap up question for all of you. So you just, if you have some answers, just go. If you could make one wish, imagine you could make one wish to transform how communities are empowered through innovation, what would it be? If you have anything like Erika, maybe Michael, Karolina, if you want to. Yeah, Erika, go.
I will try to go, but it's not really a wish, maybe more of a reminder for ourselves as cities and local authorities, is that we should not focus so much on innovation per se, but we should focus more on impact, I think. So inclusion, it happens when a lot of people are impacted by the changes and by the projects that we do. And of course, when we do these projects with them, really inclusion happens. And, you know, when we have a lot of money or when we have money, actually, like the European funds, that's nice because we are able a little bit to play with innovation, to test many things, which is nice. But when we have smaller resources or a lot of constraints, which might happen like in the UK now, we are more creative and we really focus those resources on having impacts for the larger number of people and groups. So really that would be my wish, to focus more on really making a change than to inventing new things that sometimes we really don't need. That's my thought.
Yeah, I do agree quite a lot with Erika. I would say that not only it's important the impact, shifting from experimentation, innovation to real transformation, because we are coping with real problems. In an inner perspective, our biggest challenge is that the organization culture of the public administration is by doing a lot. We do a lot of things. I mean, we are experts on doing things, but most of the times we don't think how we should be doing things in a different way. And that's mainly because we've been doing the same things for the same way for the last 150 years or 200 years, when Max Weber determined the way the public administrations were organized. And this is a big clash against all the new technological and digital disruptions, and sometimes it's difficult to match both worlds. And when we're talking about the red tape, the bureaucracy, the procedures, and which I'm a great fan, because in terms of transparency, equality, gives us guarantee in all kind of sense, but at the same time it's difficult to evolve from the idea of doing things than doing things in a different way.
So I will go last. I do agree with both of you fully. Those who know me in the audience will have probably heard me say it already, but I do mean it. So my biggest wish is that public administration, and especially local authorities, stop blocking residents to trying to come up with solutions. This is if we did as little as opened up our minds and allowed for public experimentation more, the change would be astonishing. And the more I work closer to the ground with organizations and residents, the more humble I become of how much wisdom and knowledge there is. And I have learned so much from my partners in communities that I no longer believe that it's the public sector and private sector that have all the answers. So in line with Marianne Mazzucato's great economist motto, we need to be better at risk-taking.
I fully agree with all of you. Erika, sometimes I hear a lot in the meetings, please stop reinventing the wheel. We just need we need impact. Stop trying to come up with yeah. So yeah, I fully agree with you. Also, Michael, here the commission things go slow, really slow. And we always hear, it's the price of bureaucracy, it's the price of democracy, accountability, we need it. But sometimes it's true that it doesn't, we should speed up the process. We should change a bit the mindset, fresh ideas. Come on, I completely agree. Maybe it's because I'm young, maybe, but I fully agree with you. And Karolina, the importance of listening, I completely agree. Because if you, while you're working for someone, if you're not paying attention to what is this person saying, so I fully agree with you. Before finishing, if the audience wants to propose some questions, we are here to discuss them. So please feel free if you want to.
I think we are running a little bit out of time, so unfortunately there are no questions in the chat as far as I can see. Thank you so much to all of you guys for participating and for embracing this journey and joining us. I will continue to ask you as speaker and also to the participants to continue following us and supporting and of course embracing the next episode and joining the webinar Innovate. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having us. It was a great pleasure.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you for everything.